YouTube first. Alrighty, so we're live on YouTube first. That's right. And then we go live on the internet in the Instagram. With Brick House Builders. Please hold. Okay. Of course it doesn't want to save. Okay, I'll save that title later. It doesn't want to act right now. Alrighty, so now I am live on Instagram. Yay! Look, yay, technology! When it acts well, it's so nice. Awesome. Hopefully there's no feedback.
I turned my volume all the way down on my phone, so.
All right, we shall see. We shall see. All right, where are you? Hey, everybody, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let me add you in here. Come on, internet. Okay. Come on in. Hello, hello. Hey, Rafael, what's good, sweetheart? How are you doing? Hola, hola, mi gente. ¿Qué lo que? I miss y'all. Oh, no. So did you hear me? I thought I heard myself.
That was me.
Okay, so let me turn the audio down on mine as well. Okay, you talk, Julia. Say something.
Hello.
Yes! Okay, but can you guys hear us? Everyone's hearing us well? We are multi-streaming tonight. Woo woo!
Woo.
It's a big deal. That's why I have on the tropical outfit. It's a whole thing tonight.
We kind of match, too.
We kind of do match.
Yeah, we didn't plan that.
That's how in tune we are. That's how in tune we are. Hey, Annette. Hello, Raphael. Hey, everybody on Instagram land. Hey, everybody on Instagram and YouTube land. This is my first attempt at multi-streaming. Hello, hello, hello. Hola, mi gente. I'm so happy you're here with me tonight. I am so stoked because I'm hanging out with Julia. Round of applause for Julia. Julia, tell the people who you are and what you do.
Hey everybody, my name is Julia Choseed. I'm the founder of Brick House Builders. My job titles include real estate investor, developer, general contractor, designer, consultant. I kind of wear all the hats in the real estate world when it comes to investing in the residential part of real estate.
Sweet. Now, forgive me, guys. I'm trying to work out two cameras at the same time, but we're going to get this right. So, Julia, where are you located? Where do you work?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, specifically in North Philly.
Nice. How long have you been doing it? How did you get started?
I just celebrated my 5-year anniversary. It's like that anniversary means more to me than like my birthday, anything, any holiday, it's a really big deal for me. Because some days I just still can't believe that I am doing it,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been about 5 years.
That's fantastic. How'd you get started though?
So that question is always really complex because how do you get started, right? So how I got started was really listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, reading books. That's how I got started. Networking and laying all the bricks to eventually get started, right?
Gotcha.
But that part isn't as important as the footwork, right?
Yes.
So actually getting started, that adventure started with house hacking. So I bought a single family home. I of course wanted the most desirable duplex, triplex, quad, live in one unit, rent out the others. But I was just so uncomfortable at my job and so ready to go that I found this amazing single family home that I fell in love with. And I was like, look, the price is good. I can live in one bedroom, rent out the others, still be mortgage free. So that's really how I started. And then from there, I kind of started raising private money to start investing at a more start the LLC and really get going.
So once you really once you really got super serious and went business style with it, once you recognized it was a hardcore business, that's when things really built momentum. Is that correct to say?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now, here's what I want to know for the people who are watching here tonight and know all the amazing things that you do. Actually, no, this is your time to flex. Let the people know what type of amazing things that you do. Because if you did not have time tonight or earlier today to stalk Julia and see all the amazing projects and her renovations and all the amazing things, let them know. What type of projects do you like to do?
So I feel like where I really shine, one is in construction. So like one, like you don't see women very often in the construction part of real estate. And I feel like when I got started in investing, and that the first time I like saw those walls come down and learned the process of like designing a space and watched it transform into a home, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with that part. So I started getting really interested in like architectural salvage, and I got connected with this company called Philly Reclaim, where I'd donate a lot of my building materials from the demo. I'd also save some stuff for myself where I'd be able to repurpose some of the wood that was originally in the house to then make vanities and floating shelves and, you know, you name it, like the custom mill work with reclaimed wood. So yeah, I really love rehabs. A lot of people were like, oh, once you do new construction, you won't want to do a rehab again. And I've done new construction and I still absolutely love rehabs. I have this building that I'm just getting started now. It's a 5-unit in West Philly that has like these wooden shingles and stained glass windows. And like, you don't get that in a new construction. You don't get brick. You don't get like old growth pine. Like if you compare a 2x4 from 1920 to 2020, you're gonna be like, we built houses with that. So yeah, I just really love like renovating old houses and transforming them to be able to do that mix of like old and new.
Nice. Now, at what point did you transition over, not transition, but at what point did you recognize that you needed to become a general contractor?
It was probably my second or third deal.
Okay.
So at that, for my first two, I had partnered with someone who he was the general contractor. He took the reins of like handling the subcontractors. And I was more at that point, like I raised the money, I found the deal, and I had quit my job. So I was full-time doing this. So once you raise the money, find the deal, then like now it's time to be involved in the project. So I was able to really observe and learn the ins and outs of construction and a lot of what not to do. And by then I was like, okay, so let me get this straight. To get your license, all you have to do is take a class and get an insurance policy. That's it. Like it blew my mind that like
I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that was that simple. Any experience. So I was like I was a year into real estate, into construction, and here I am, a licensed general contractor, right? And I was like, I feel like I'm lying to people, but no. And like, yeah, so it was pretty early on, and like, so that's specifically what I kind of like when there's new investors that are starting out and kind of asking questions about the process.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but it is for most people to be able to learn to GC your own project. Because at the end of the day, I always, some of the people who have been following you have probably heard me say this a million times, but often when you hire a GC, you end up GCing your GC.
I've heard that before. Please elaborate, because I've never done a rehab. So elaborate. I've heard that term before. Please.
So like, so if you hire a GC now, you're basically giving control over to them. Yes. Right? You're cut off from handling any kind of subcontractors, any of the installations, any of the repairs. That's out of your hands at that point. You have one point of contact and they handle everything.
Okay.
So what often happens is that people, obviously, no one's going to care about your project as much as you do. These GCs have multiple projects and their own lives, and they're in it to make money. That's what they do. It's their job, right? So what ends up happening is they say they'll be there Monday with drywall. Monday comes around, they're not there. Wednesday comes around, Friday comes around, they're like, oh, there's a delay with something or other. And then like next thing you know, your project's sitting vacant for weeks over something that you can't get your hands in. And you're like, I can just call this drywall company, because they're probably not following up. They might not have the time or care about your specific project to really like make sure it gets done ASAP. They're just like, so yeah, that's what it feels like to GC or GC, when at the end of the day, it's like, once you learn the flow of construction and how to manage your project and coordinate subcontractors, then that's you making those phone calls. You're not, you don't have to pick up a hammer. You don't have to really like do much of anything except pick up the phone, show up, and make sure these people are doing a good job.
Okay. Then let me ask you this then. True or false? Should everyone that does rehabs consistently just become a GC themselves? Do you agree or disagree with that statement? And let me know, people who are watching below, do you agree or disagree with that statement? If you do multiple rehabs, not a one-off, multiple rehabs within a year, is it worth it to become a GC? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat, people, and I want to know your thoughts, Julia.
Should I wait till we see some answers? Or
I know we should wait. Granted, there is a delay on Instagram. It's like a 10-second delay. I should have like a Jeopardy song playing or something. But I want to know. I'm kind of curious.
So if you're full-time in residential real estate investing, I think absolutely.
Okay.
But if you're working a full-time job, or like it may not be as attainable, but the second you're full-time and you're waking up and you're kind of like scheduling and showing up and communicating with subs, and you have the accessibility to do that, you should be doing it. Because like the biggest thing is the going rate for general contractors is typically between 20 and 30%. So most
I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah. And then in Philadelphia, most of these houses are over 100 years old, which means if we're buying it and there hasn't been any work done to it, we're starting from scratch. We're not only starting from scratch, we're starting from before scratch, and we're repairing what's there and then starting from scratch, right? So you're working at like 6-figure rehab budgets. So 20 to 30% of a 6-figure rehab budget can either, one, go to savings and accelerate your investment, or two, go right to you, and there's your salary. If you do a few of those a year and the budget makes sense and you would have paid someone else anyway, then yeah. What did people say?
Yes. Yes, and yes.
Yeah.
And someone said you can still hire another GC if you want or need. Okay, true.
Absolutely.
Because then let me ask you this. What personality lends better to being a GC? And what other personalities where it might be challenging to be a GC? Because anyone can do anything. However, certain people's personalities lend better to particular tasks than others. So what do you think?
So it's interesting because as the job title General Contractor, you'd think the top priority skill would be the knowledge of like construction, which is important. That's absolutely important. But the top two before the knowledge of construction are actually your leadership skills and your project management skills.
Okay.
Because you can be amazing at construction and still be awful at GCing. Because if you don't know how to schedule and you don't know how to manage people effectively, then it's going to be useless. Okay.
All right. Because I was kind of curious. Now, here's the thing. Hello. Hi, everyone. Look, all the greetings are coming in. Hi, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us today. So, all right. So anyone can do it. However, leadership skills are required.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Very, very good to know. Now, let me know. Tell me about your first rehab. What went right? What went wrong? I always want to know people's first time stories.
What went right? Wait, I can't fit it. What went wrong? Right? So, which is okay. So like, that's how it was perfect. It worked out exactly as it should have, just for me, right? So like, when I first finally decided to pull the trigger, it was funny. I listened to a podcast the other day on Bigger Pockets, and they asked the question, when do you think when do you think is a good time to finally get started, right? Like you can read all the books and listen to all the podcasts and do all the networking, but when do you finally get started? And the answer was when you're confident enough. So I was confident enough.
Okay.
I felt like I knew enough, but I also knew that I had just graduated from a 4-year university with a bachelor's degree, and I paid a lot of money for it, you know? And who am I to like get into real estate with no education and no cost of entrance, right? So I was kind of okay with the fact that I may pay a little bit of a tuition to get started, which I ended up not. I made money from day one, but I was willing to be able to take that first project and learn everything I needed to, whether I made money or not, so that second project, I had everything I needed to know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you paid your cost of tuition by the lessons you learned.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody does, though.
I mean, you can't avoid that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's funny, like my first rehab project, I had a budget of $40,000. So I went over budget by about 70.
Oh.
So, yeah. Oh. I learned so much. So like have you ever heard a house being marketed as like grandma's house?
Yes.
Don't ever believe that. It's a lie. So they're like, grandma's house, right? Took great care of it. As soon as we took down those walls, the bricks were crumbling. So above every window and every door, there was no lintel to support the brick above. So I didn't even know what a lintel was at that point.
I don't know what a lintel is, to be honest. What is it?
Well, you're about to. So you see the brick behind me, if I'm a door, there's an opening here, right?
Yes.
And all this brick above needs to be supported. So these days we use like iron. So we'll use an iron across and that supports the brick. But so that's kind of like a common thing to come across in a Philadelphia rehab project. Because most of these houses, it used to be wood and it's rotted away or there was none at all. So we throw like an angle iron up, and we had to do that on every single window, every single door. So that's a mason removing brick, installing this iron, reinstalling brick, pointing it. So you can imagine it doesn't come free.
That sounds expensive in and of itself.
Yeah.
In and of itself. Now, before I continue, I am seeing some amazing questions and I want to address all of them, but I do not want to miss your question. So if you have any questions for Julia or myself, go ahead and hit the question box down below and type in your question because the comments are going fast. I'm trying to scroll back and I don't want to miss your question. So once again, put your questions in the question box and we'll go ahead and address them. Oh, I know. Hello. Oh, wow. What a crowd. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Now, one question I did see here, which was fantastic. Let me see. Pretty much Bless X. How is it how is a GC as a female and working with men? How has that been for you? What challenges and what have you learned?
So the way it is 95% of the time really empowering. Right? But I mean, as a woman, not being in a male dominated industry, we already have these things that we have to face just by leaving the house, right? So you get a lot more of that on the job site. And I have like a very strict, like, you need to respect that I write the checks here policy, because I learned on my first project that another thing, like people will genuinely not acknowledge you as the boss and will refuse to accept it. So I had this one situation where someone was upset about something that had happened. It was the next door neighbor, and I like showed up to try to address the situation, would not talk to me. I said, I own the house and I'm the contractor. And they would not talk to me. And then they talked to some guy on the job site. The problem didn't get fixed. And then they talked to that guy again. And I'm like, he has nothing to do with that problem. So yeah, that's a big thing for me, because to be honest, there's a lot that more often than not, the dynamic that isn't always fair. So I make sure that people like can acknowledge and respect that I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm talking about, and that I write the check.
So they should pay attention to who writes the check. I think that's pretty simple, but it's sad that you have to deal with that, though.
Yep. And there are a lot of I was on for Philly Real Estate Week, a panel full of women, and we had a phone call before that, and we were talking about like, all right, so like how amazing is it that like us as women are like really like breaking ceilings and like doing this thing, but also like I don't feel comfortable going alone to meet a contractor for the first time. I will not do it. So I can't meet contractors alone for the first time. A lot of times I can't go to my projects by myself. And there's just things like that I'm not like, I don't think we're there yet, where it's not necessarily safe to just show up by yourself. Yeah, you know?
No, you're absolutely right. It's not safe and it's not smart. But I never stopped to think about, that would interfere with your workflow, like legit workflow.
Mm-hmm.
Dang it. I have nothing to say to that. Let me answer these questions right here. That's interesting, though. I never thought about
it. Because like that means as women, we have to work a little harder, work a little smarter, and be more resourceful.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. See, once again, I'm seeing great questions and I want to answer them all. Please put them in the question box because these comments and questions are going really fast. Let me see. This one. Facts. Facts. Now I know who you are. Facts. Julia is the best builder. Done. Facts.
I think that's my tile guy.
Facts. Straight facts. She is the best builder. Guys who are on YouTube, I'm just answering some questions on Instagram. If you have any questions on YouTube, go ahead and put them in the chat and we will address them there as well. There was another one that I saw. Wait. Do you think it's true? Oh, we have a big, this is a long one. Oh, sweetheart, that's too long. That's way too long. They didn't choose to buy a lot and build from the ground up, or pray that you find that diamond in the, I'm assuming diamond in the rough. And that's all I can see of the question.
It's all about the numbers.
Yeah.
Yep. I had one new construction that I didn't do amazing on. I've had a rehab that I've made triple the amount that I've done on new construction. And now I'm doing another new construction that I'm anticipating to make a lot of money on. So it's all about the numbers. It's what you're buying at.
However, though, you are in the Philly market, which is a fantastic market, by the way, at least when I was first exposed to it. I'm sure the market has changed tremendously over this short period of time. However, you get these diamonds in the rough for relatively reasonable prices. And then as the market develops and you guys add value to the market, literally, your turnaround is fantastic, at least from what I've read. And for the other investors that I'm in contact with in Philly. So that also helps. Because, I mean, flipping, like I'm in the DC area, flipping the DC area, like yikes, like because just land alone is expensive. So like the margins, the numbers don't look too great here. People do it, but it's all about how you address the project. That's a great question. What was your biggest project?
The biggest project. So for a short period of time, I was taking on some client work, and I turned a 2-story warehouse into a 3-story 6-unit apartment building. And it was a lot of fun. We took it down to like 2 brick walls and just built everything new. So that's probably my biggest project.
Facts. Let me address this one. First of all, I love you, Rick. Sorry, everyone, this is Rick Jarman of Real Estate Old School, one of my favorite investors. Yes, and he always shares truth. He said, I always say liars can number, but the numbers don't lie. Yes, basically, the numbers don't lie, people. That's
the best thing about real estate, like it is black and white. Once you learn how to analyze a deal, you put the numbers on paper, and you might spend like 20 minutes writing it out, and then the paper says yes or it says no.
Yeah.
And that's what's so good about it.
My sweetheart Annette asks, how long was your longest rehab?
Longest rehab was That was like my redheaded stepchild. It took about a year and a half, and it started with we had to make safe violation. So what that means is before getting your building permit, you have to actually have an engineer come out and do plans on how to make the building safe. And then you apply for that permit, you get that permit closed once it's done, and then you can start your building permit. So we had a lot of holdbacks with that initial phase. And then that is the property that I brought on that partner, and about a quarter of the way through the project is when we had to separate and cut ties, which ended in lawsuits and money being withheld. So it's actually I wish I remember some of the stories, but this person tried everything in their power for me not to finish this project, and I made sure to get it done. I pulled in credit card money and friends money and family money, and it took a year and a half, but it is rented and cash flowing, and they're installing a mural on it right now. It's like
But man, if you don't mind me asking, I know you can't go into details, but what was the main cause of the rift?
So there was everything you could imagine that could go bad. Think of that, and then it being worse, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So when it came to like money and like personality, and I lost like 6 figures having that partner.
Oy, sorry, mama. Yeah. Oh, that hurts me.
Stronger.
Yeah, definitely. Now, let me ask you this. Dealing with that, how did you navigate? Have you ever partnered with someone again on a project since then? Not lending. I'm just talking literally, they were your 50% ownership of the property, and you guys were going in it together.
Yes, for a flip. So someone who was actually a private investor of mine since day one. Mm-hmm. So they had been lending with me, and we already had the dynamic of our relationship. It was very hands off. It was very passive. They gave me money, and we didn't talk.
Okay. Perfect relationship. I'm looking for that type of relationship. Right. Give me money, don't talk to me.
Yep. So we partnered on a flip where he handled a lot of the acquisition, all of the money, gotcha. And he helped out a little bit. There was a short period of time where I didn't have a truck, so he was able to step in and help me pick up some materials in the beginning. But yeah, so that has gone very smooth.
Awesome. All right. Let me see. Oh, there's another good question here. Dr. Christine Johnson says, how did you prove your previous experience in your GC application? Didn't have to?
I don't think I had to. I don't remember having to.
I don't really had to either. Mm-mm. Okay. Now, here is the other thing. Oh, sorry, y'all. Oh, wow, these are going really fast. Once again, guys, these comments are flying for me. So once again, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the little question chat thingy down at the bottom. When you see a little question mark, hit it, add your question. I won't miss it because they are going really fast. They are. Oh, in Virginia, we need to. Oh, okay. I guess not in Philadelphia then. All right. But moving forward, here's my other question I have for you. So we've already addressed what personalities lend better. Once again, anyone can be a GC. However, certain personalities lend better to being a GC, all right, a general contractor. Now, let's get to the brass tacks here. Even though you can get your license as a general contractor, you still have to find subcontractors. Tell me, what is your process? What headaches have you had to deal with? How do you mitigate the nonsense you have to deal with, and finding good people to work with you in order to get your projects done and done on time?
Right. So I have like a little bit of leverage in that because I have a degree in HR and organizational leadership, and I feel like I'm pretty I'm like an empathic person. Mm-hmm. So like I can very well gauge people at this point, definitely through what I've been through in the beginning of starting my business. And I think the biggest thing when finding tenants, when finding subcontractors, is like the relationship and the person, right? Okay. So I try to find like just good people, right? So there's that. And then of course, one thing that's important to me is seeing the work. So there's some trades that don't take very much skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to one area is like demo. So demo is just straight labor. It's a bunch of people going in the house with sledgehammers and wrecking shit. You don't have with my language, but you don't have to have much skill for that. So when you're getting bids for demo, you might be from like 5,000 to 15,000.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as in a contract, you make it clear what your expectations are. And with demo, there's a few different things. Like, I want this house demoed brick to brick, which means everything goes above the subfloor and below the joists.
Gotcha.
And if that's clear, pay the $5,000. So as long as like you know that like they are like reputable, and you know you have an agreement on the payment scale that isn't going to put you in a place of disadvantage, then something like that is just like get it done, get it cheap. But then there's other trades that it's really important that they do a good job. Right. So definitely your mechanicals, roofing, windows, because these things, anything where water's getting in and where, the things behind the walls that aren't going to be easy to fix once they're done, those are the big ones. So a few things that I might do to, screen subcontractors is to, if they're busy, then they're on another project right now. Right.
Okay.
So most contractors are like 2 to 3 weeks out of scheduling. So you can ask to meet them on their job site now and see the type of work that they do, or if it's something that you can just drive by. So, for example, for new construction, the exterior work. Oh, I need someone. I need a bricklayer. I need someone to do the fiberglass roof deck. And as you're vetting these people, you can ask projects that they've done, and then just do a drive by and inspect the work. Trust that they actually did that one. You know what I mean? But that's a big one. It's just like seeing the quality of the work, and of course, getting references. So networking is the most important thing in this business. And like I always really put a lot of importance on having a relationship with other people that are doing exactly what I'm doing, because they're not competition. Like I established that from day one. Like there is no competition here.
Yeah.
Like, there is an abundance of real estate, an abundance of money, and an abundance of deal, and we all have access to it.
Yes.
Right. So like I have a good relationship with a lot of the developers, specifically in the neighborhoods that I build in, and we text each other, hey, who's your framer for this project? And the other day I texted a friend of mine about a framer, because mine has unfortunately been relocated by government officials.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I asked them who their framers are, and I was like, you don't have to worry about me stealing them, because like that, some people were like, oh, well, I know you're busy, so I don't want to like give you my good sub, and then they work for you all the time now. And they were like, no, we don't worry about that here. We help each other out. And I'm like, those are the relationships that I build and I keep close, and like it comes like that process of like vetting and having people come in and out. But once you develop your circle, I am where I am today specifically because of networking.
Nice. That's a beautiful thing. Oh, okay. All right. So, okay. There's a lot of questions I missed. Okay. Here's one that just came up. Okay. How long do you hold final payment?
I love that.
That's a tasty question. That's a tasty question.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to know this too. Okay.
So it actually depends on the trade. I'm all over the map with when it comes to final payments with trades. So when it comes to like roofers and things like that, I hold payment until it rains, and until I make sure that they did a good job. Other than that, I typically I'll pay within a few days most of the time, but I'll do like net 7, net 10, net 14 worst case scenario, because the most important thing for me is to do that final walkthrough when they're done, and to do it alone. I don't do it with the subcontractor. I do a walkthrough without them, because there's no distractions.
Oh,
you can take your time and really inspect their work without them sitting in your ear talking about all the things that they did and look over, So like I had a drywall contractor who actually ended up being really awful, who like he was like, okay, I'm done. He wasn't even done. He was like literally still like sanding. And he's like, I'm done. And I was like, all right, well, once you're done, I'll go and inspect. And he was like, no, I need payment today. And I'm like,
no,
I'm sorry, that's just not how I don't think really most people run their business. Like, so.
All right. Okay, the other question, I don't want to miss it. Once again, guys, all questions. I know. All questions in the question chat for me. I don't want to miss them. This is an interesting question, but I like this. I want to hear your answer. What makes your work succeed? I like that question.
Succeed. Passion, you know? You gotta care. I think that's what it is. It's like when you put your heart into something.
Now, here's my question for you. As people type in their questions in the question box here. Naturally, when you are involved in, do you hear that feedback? Is that just me? That's probably just me. No, I think it's probably just me. Everyone else is good. That's all I care about. I can hear myself twice. That's cool. So when you're involved in rehabbing all of these beautiful historic homes in Philadelphia, maintaining the stained glass walls and the beautiful trusses and all the beautiful things that I see on your page, and I'm just like, oh my God, there's so much character in those properties there. And I appreciate how you try your best to maintain that, all that richness in it. However, you want to do that. And the cool thing is that it enables you to work so closely with the community and naturally work so closely with not only community leaders, but with the local county officials, right? So tell me how literally improving properties within the community of Philadelphia has aided in benefiting your relationship with local county officials. So when you roll up to get your permits, something tells me they smile when they see you, correct or no? No feedback?
L&I is in Philadelphia is a very scary place. Yeah,
that was my romantic idea.
You're going to see some comments roll in about what it's like being at the MSB building.
She said, "No."
I try, and it's like there are, it is beneficial. I have experienced a little bit of like, knowing someone by name and saying hi, and then kind of like planting the seed for the day you have a problem and going to that person that like knows your name and you always say hi to, but yeah. But I think you made a good point on like the community aspect though. Because I think that is something that I really put a lot of emphasis on. I see people coming in. Yeah, L&I doesn't love anyone.
Oh, dude, it's like that. It's like that, family. Okay.
That, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You come in, you're having a great morning. You have your cup of coffee, and you're like, like it's like the air is stale. Oh, that place is.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay. Noted. Noted.
Yeah. But I think community involvement is a big thing. I live where I invest.
That's a powerful statement right there.
Yeah,
very few people do.
Yeah, so I can walk to every single one of my projects, and I know my neighbors, and I think it's especially important to, because one, you have this. You're dealing with like over 100-year-old building. Sorry, there goes the dog.
That's strawberry.
So you're dealing with a building that's over 100 years old, right? And like we are improving this neighborhood. So like the work that we're doing right now should be lasting another 100 years, right? Yes. So like taking pride in that and like doing it well so that when you drive by and when people drive by, we're now like beautifying an entire like community. Yeah. So like that's a big thing. I love Strawberry Mansion. I was just drawn here, and like when I first moved to Philly and I wanted to get into real estate, everyone told me don't go north of. So like right below Strawberry Mansion is Brewerytown. Brewerytown is very hot. It's a very hot, competitive neighborhood. That's where everybody wanted to be, and I like fell in love with this house, and everyone's like, oh, don't buy north of Thompson. And then a few months later it was like, don't buy north of whatever the block was above that.
Baltimore. Yeah, the way they talk about it.
Yeah, it's really very block to block too.
Yeah, it's Baltimore.
I like was able to use my intuition, and I'm like, hey, like I'm buying a house that like I came to on a Saturday afternoon because like Saturday afternoon in the city, everyone's out. I like showed up at night to see what it felt like at night, and it was a few steps from Fairmount Park. It was quiet. There was parking, and it felt good. And I'm like, I'm going to go with the fact that this feels good. And then shortly after moving to Strawberry Mansion, and like everyone's like, "Ooh, Strawberry Mansion." I like may have been like the pioneer of like Strawberry Mansion. Like no one ever like dared move to Strawberry Mansion like 5 years ago. And I like when people be like, "Where do you live?" I'm like, "Strawberry Mansion." They'd be like, "Are you okay? Like, do you need somewhere to go?" I'm like, I love it here. And like I really started like voicing that a lot, like on social media and to other investors. And like it's so funny that like 5 years ago no one wanted to be in Strawberry Mansion, and now I have people paying over triple of what I paid for the property next door to mine. And it's like
nice
bid wars, and like everyone wants to be in here. And buy where they tell you not to,
That's wisdom right there. Thank you, Annette.
Yeah,
that's real wisdom. Now, okay, see, it's 7:41 already. Time is flying by. It's going way too fast. Way too fast. Now, tell the people, before I forget, tell the people what your course is about and all the goodies inside of it.
Okay.
What are you teaching?
Yeah, so me and Nicole Purvey a few years ago.
Shout out to Nicole.
Yeah, she I remember the first time.
So cool.
The first time I met her, I was like, wow, I want to be like her when I grow up. And I asked her, I went to one of her events and I introduced myself, and I was like, hey, like, I love what you're doing. And, I have this idea, and someday, like, I think we could like really do something great together, because like you have this platform and I had this idea to teach this class. And she was like, what are you doing Tuesday? We went out to lunch like a few days later, and we had prices for the course, we had dates for the course.
Love it.
And like we had like she had tickets for sale a week later, and we just got right to work. And like when I tell you, like, I say that like happening in my life still blows my mind to this day, because it's like I have so many stories of like, oh, someday I want to do this thing, and then like in the perfect timing, which is never on mine. It's never when I want it.
Yes. Oh my God, we can have our entire live on that. That is the God touch. It's never on your time. It's always before you're ready.
I have another quick funny story. So yeah, we got right to work on that class. We're about to launch our third version of the class, which is going to be fully virtual. This class, it's a 4-week class, and it specifically targets real estate investors or investor hopefuls that are either know a little bit about real estate, they kind of have the numbers and know how to analyze a deal for the most part, and they really are ready to buy their first property and figure out what that timeline and schedule looks like of what they do once they buy it. Or it's for the people that have maybe have a few projects under their belt and they want to figure out a way to get it done more efficiently, more affordable. And yeah, we just go from A to Z, like the basics of like how to become a contractor, how to set up insurance, and like, the fundamental stuff of actually being able to get started. And then what's the most important thing, like I talked about before, is like being a good project manager. So like teaching the tools and resources on how to actually schedule and manage your job site efficiently and staying on top of everything. And then of course we get into every single stage of the project, from demo to masonry to framing, all the way down to like how to market it. And we go through A to Z, what to do with your project.
Okay.
So
That sounds awesome, though. Seriously.
We have a few attendees in the chat.
I see that. They're repping for this class hard.
Yeah.
So how long is the class?
So it's 4 Saturdays. We're starting in September. I think it's the last Saturday in September and 3 Saturdays in October.
Gotcha. And for obvious reasons, I'm curious for you guys, you here, Julia, you, and everyone in the chat below who is actually in the midst of handling rehabs. Has the current pandemic slowed down your work? Did you have to modify things? How are things going?
Is that for the chat?
That's for the chat and you. Did you have any projects going currently when all of this
I had to shut down a project for over 2 months. I've had to deal with a lot of delays with L&I on getting a permit for a 5-unit. Oh, look, there's a few students. That's so cool. But it's funny. The people that I talk to that are kind of like on the same wavelength as probably I can say us, have actually said only very good things about what this pandemic has brought to them in their business, which like sounds crazy to like the normal person.
Now I'm curious.
So, yeah, like on you know what it really provided was like this time of reflection and resetting that we would have never received. You know, it's like keep our head down and hustle and get through these projects. And now we're like, oh, now we're at a dead stop. And it's going to be really uncomfortable for the first week or two. And there's going to be a lot of fear. You know, I was kind of freaking out for a little bit. And then I was able to do the work to like get through that. And now it's like, okay. And now I really figured out what was working for me, what wasn't working for me. I started a new business during this pandemic.
Nice.
I set some new goals. I said something. I've declared things that I'm never going to do again. Yeah, so it's been a huge reset button for me and my businesses. And ultimately, through the rental properties that I have and the projects that I have, I don't anticipating it being a loss of income very much. Just a loss of time. Really, it was all that did, and maybe some extra interest payments to the banks. But other than that, it seems like the real estate market right now for this property that I'm going to be putting on the market, you know, within the next 2 weeks, the market looks great. All of my apartments are occupied. Everyone's paying.
That's a blessing right there. And they're paying.
And
the tenants are paying.
Yep. I got nurses. I got UPS drivers.
Yes.
They're working. And then the ones that aren't working, this was the story I was going to tell. So this is a cool story. So like, it's funny. So this property that I like the ugly redheaded stepchild, right? I hated this project. Someone else had like kind of started managing the construction. I had to jump in and finish. I got broken into multiple times. I had to rewire the house twice because they came and snipped all the wires. It was like the worst project. And it took a year and a half, and like I had to like keep scraping money from like everywhere, and I had this partner on the property that I had to refinance, and he refused to sign off on anything. So then it's rented, and right now I've been like going over like the financials of all the properties that I own, and I was like, I think that one's first to go. You know, no, I can go. And the second I had that thought, like within a few days, I got a message on Instagram from someone who is affiliated with the Philadelphia Mural Arts program. And they're like, oh, you know, and I know you have this building. Would you be interested in putting a mural on it? And I was just like, when I had this building at first, I went to like 7 different artists to quote getting murals put on this building. And it went anywhere from 20 grand to 60 grand. And I was like, man, like I just can't afford to put this mural on this building. I was hoping someone would like really want to beautify the neighborhood. And it's like right on the corner of a major intersection. And I just couldn't make it happen. And then the second I had the idea of wanting to sell this thing that I wanted so bad for years just showed up. And God's like, you ain't selling this property. The mural's almost done. They're there. They've been there all week. The mural is almost done, and it's still. And the tenants in the building are the ones doing the mural.
Shut up! Are you serious? No, that's cool. That's really cool.
Crazy. Yeah,
that's really cool.
You know, like the way things work out for me, like aren't subtle. It's like, oh, you want this thing? You know, some higher force is going to make this happen for you, and they're going to make sure you know by all the crazy coincidences that this is for you right now. So it's really cool. Those are the tenants that aren't working right now. The only tenants I have that aren't working right now are installing the mural on the building that they live in. That I've always.
Yeah, that is amazing.
That is
amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
God will stop you from selling your property.
Yeah, nope. Exactly. Exactly. Now, what's this question we have? Wait. I saw a question. Da-da-da. Excellent question. How can we sign up for the class starting in September, Julia? How? The people want to know.
There's a link right in my bio. If you click my link tree, it's the top one. Yeah, tickets for life.
Exactly. Go and grab yours now, guys. Go and grab yours now. Because there's anything I know for sure is, like you said, this was a time for a major reset. And I don't know about y'all, but I was able to recognize who, I'm going there right now, who was not essential in my life. And they went bye-bye. And so I feel much lighter. So I don't know about anybody else. So yeah, I've been thankful for special time for awareness, personal development, and really figuring out what matters most for me and how I can better serve myself so I can better serve others. Yeah.
Once you get that scary part, you know, there's a week where I'm like, don't talk about money in this house. It was crazy. It was like a whole week. Yeah, I was like really like so feared up. And I worked through that, and like I did what I had to do to get to the side of abundance. And like the things that started happening when I changed my energy around money at that time, there's some crazy stories there too. Well, I'll tell you later.
I know. And look, it's like 7:51. We have to do a part 2 to this.
Yeah.
We have to do a part 2 to this because that was also the plan too. We have to do a part 2 to this because this has to happen. But let me ask you this before we wrap up. I want to know this for the people who are here. First of all, let me make my request to the lovely 40 people who've hung out with us tonight. Once again, hello. Thank you for hanging out with us. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Gia. I go as the Kaizen Investor. I talk to amazing people like Julia on a weekly basis. So go ahead, hit the little tap on the upper right-hand side or left-hand side. Go ahead and follow the both of us because Julia has a lot more to share. I have a lot more to share. I love amazing people, and I get to talk to amazing people every week like Julia. So make sure that you do that. Do that, number one. And for Julia, I want to know this from you. What is one thing, if you can go back in time and tell your newbie real estate investor, newbie self, some solid advice, what would you tell her?
Go with your gut.
That's good.
Yeah, I listened to external voices and I went against my my truth.
What do you mean? Elaborate.
So like there was a few goals that I made clear within myself before I got started, and those things popped up, and I was like, well, maybe it'll work out different because I had made I knew before I got started that I didn't want a partner. I wanted investors. I didn't want a partner.
Okay.
I also didn't want clients. Within my first year, I did both of those, and they did not work out very well. And it was just kind of like that realignment. It's just like, hey, this isn't true to you, and I'm gonna show you real quick that it's not, and get you back on track. And here I am. I don't have partners. I don't do client work. Life is good. I learned a lot. Yeah.
Trust your gut. A woman's instinct is awesome. Yeah, in real estate, it is. And you know, I feel like once again, shout out to all the lovely gentlemen who are hanging out with us. Yeah. We love your testosterone. We love you. Woo woo woo. We love you. Because say that because make it sensitive. However, yes, a woman's intuition is a powerful thing. And when I see that executed in real estate, let me tell you something. There's a lot of women on Instagram who a lot of y'all are sleeping on because they're killing it in these streets. They just lay low.
The thing is, it's like who you surround yourself with and who you speak your goals to are very important when you're just getting started. Because as a woman, the people you talk to may not have the idea that this is for you, right?
Yes, so
Surround
true.
yourself with people who think this is for you. So it was funny. I was driving home, getting ready for the show, and I just started laughing. And with my partner, I'm like, "Yo, I've been through a lot,"
Yeah.
and it's like, what that had looked like is like I had a partner who convinced me that I wasn't worthy of this, and that tried to tell me that, like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have the best leadership and all of these things. And I watched them burn everything to the ground, and I stepped back and I'm like, I can do this better. I knew that. And I let other voices tell me that I didn't do that. And I had to figure out the hard way that this is for me, and like that's a challenge of being a woman in real estate today. It's like really genuinely in your heart feeling that this is for me, because it doesn't look like it is.
That's so okay, all right. No, you can't do this to me, Julia. Julia, you can't leave me like this, Julia. You're a mess. But okay, Julia. People in the chat, do you want Julia to speak more about this for at least 30 more minutes? I would. Let's see. Well, can we ask her? Can we say, Julia, can you hang on for another 30 minutes with us? Is that possible, Julia?
Murals said, talk about it.
I know, part two. I know, part two. No, we need to handle this right now. I just need another 30 minutes with Julia just to speak on this. Are y'all cool with that? Are y'all? Yes. See, the yeses are rolling. Speak on it. So here's what we're going to do. So, see, Julia, the people need more of you, Julia.
Let's do it.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I need to stop this live because Instagram only allows me an hour, and it's almost coming up on an hour. I have 4 minutes. So I'm going to stop this live and restart it. For the one person who's holding on strong on YouTube, who are you? I salute you. I salute you, YouTuber. Thank you. That one, I see the numbers go up and down. It's like 2, 1, 2 on YouTube. Bless your heart. You don't have to go. You stay tight. But everyone on IG, I am going to turn this off, stop this live, and restart it. Okay? All right. Promise me you're coming back?
42. I better see the number 42.
I know, we better have 42. So y'all promise to come back? Let me wait the 10 seconds. I need to see some yeses. Y'all going to come back? If I go, will you come back to me? Now, it always was like an awkward pause, by the way, because the delay is so long. It's like a 10-second delay.
It adds suspense. You're like,
does it though? It just brings anxiety. Matt, though, shout out to Matt Agabarnaro on YouTube. Matt, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Matt on YouTube.
Oh my God.
Shout out. You a real one, Matt. All right. We're turning this off and I'm turning it back on. Okay, guys. Okay, let's say share to IGTV. How you doing? You doing okay? Okay, let's see here. Come on, Instagram. Come on. Okay. Come on.
I have all my beverages. I have a seltzer water, a bottle. I have a tea.
So Matt, since you're the one YouTuber watching us tonight, where are you watching from? What state? What city? Are you even in the US? Where are you watching from, my friend? Are you in the real estate space? I'm kind of curious. It's always fun to see who watches the YouTube videos. It's always so much fun. Oh, come on, man. Okay, with Brick Valves Builder.
Oh.
No, that's not you. It's just me, babe. Okay, so let's just refresh that. Come on, internet. Work with me, internet. Come on, yay. All right, so now I'm going to go live again. Hold on. You're downstairs. That's what you're downstairs. Okay. Noted. I hope you're having fun in the basement, down wherever you are, Matt. I hope you're warm. I hope you're, safe in the basement. Living your bliss. Live your bliss. Shut up. Are you really Julie's boyfriend? That's hilarious. Hi.
Thanks, baby.
I'm dead right now. That is adorable. Oh, Julia, he's a keeper. He's totally a keeper. Oh my God. He's so cute. I love it. Okay, let me add you back on. That's adorable. That is so stinking cute. Oh, that caught me off guard. Shout out to Matt, the realest boyfriend in the game. Shout out to Matt. Hey guys, we're back. We'll get
you a good partner. You know what I mean?
Yes, I need to, girl. I need to get you a Matt. I need to get a Matt.
Yeah, you wait for them. They show up.
All right, beautiful people, we are back. We better get back to 42 because that was the agreement. Julia says she'll come back and spend another 30 minutes with us, and we get back to 42. So here's how we can do it. On the lower right-hand side of your phone, you see a little paper airplane. Hit that paper airplane and let at least 5 people know how amazing this live is so you can invite them back.
Yeah.
Once again, hit the paper airplane.
Royal is one of my mentees. She's here.
Oh, that's dope.
Hey, Royal.
Once again, hit that paper plane. Send this live out. Do us a solid. If this is adding value to you and helping you, go ahead, hit the paper plane. Send this to at least 5 people so they can know what's happening. We can get this back to 42. And then Julia will drop some gems because she was dropping gems nonstop. Boy, the questions are already rolling in already.
We're inching up.
Oh, hey, anyone ready for Houston? What's happening in Houston? I have no idea. Let's see. Welcome. 28, so close to 30.
Came back. He's
so close.
What's up, Keith?
Welcome back. Hello, 30. Okay, come on. Give me 12 more people. Come on, 42. For the people who are just joining us, we need to, we need to get back to 42. We got to get back to 42. So all you need to do is hit the little paper airplane. Send this to at least 5 people. Let them know what's going on. Invite them to the party. So close. 32. In the meantime, as they come on in, once again, for those of you guys who may have missed it, Julia has an awesome course that she is launching not next month, in September, correct?
Yes, September.
In September. The link is in her bio. You better get it.
Oh, I got a good question.
Go for it.
First-time home buyer, is a duplex a good idea?
Go for it.
Yes. A duplex, a triplex, a quad, all of those qualify for conventional financing as a first-time home buyer. You put that little 3% down payment, probably less these days, on your 4-unit. You only live for free. You're making money, and when you move out, you got 4 units cash flow up. So
sweet.
Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 1, and you rent out the basement.
There you go. All right. So, anyone for Houston? We're
going to Houston tonight.
Oh, you're going to Houston tonight? Okay. I didn't get that question, but okay. I'm happy. They're happy. I'm happy. Ooh, top your projects. I don't understand that question. What do you mean? Top your projects. I don't follow. Try that again, sweetheart. Try that again. Let's put this back down. Okay. Down payments you need. For what, man, plus? What down payments you need? It depends on the property, darling.
Someone said, what about credit? Not good. So
good question.
Get a partner that's got good credit.
There you go.
Yeah. So having a partner might not be the most desirable plan for your business, right? But I always say, you either get started with a partner or you don't get started at all. Because sometimes you don't have all the things you need to get started, right? So like you're going to need money. You're going to need credit. You might need some experience. And if you don't have all of the things, then leverage another person for those things until you don't need them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So half of a deal is better than
no
100%
deal.
deal.
Now I have to get back on it. I wanted my 30 minutes of mindset. You know how I am, Julia. So you were saying earlier that for the beginning of your career, you were doubting yourself a lot because you did not listen to your gut. My question for you is this. I don't even know, because I wouldn't even say like, oh, it's being a woman in real estate. Because no, I think sometimes it's being a human sometimes that when we start out in something new, we have a tendency to doubt ourselves. And sometimes doubting ourselves can be costly, literally costly. Costly. For you, tell me about the time when you said, dang it, I should have listened to my gut, but I doubted myself.
So I'm gonna take this in a different direction, just
Go. I'm riding
to
your
share
wave.
my experience. Not everyone may, be on board with this, but this has been my experience, right? Mm-hmm. So when I first got started in real estate, I had, so we hear the term a lot about the stock market. So the stock market moves on fear and greed, but so do people. The stock market is just people, right? So like, I identify with that. I started my business and I ran off fear and greed, right? I was going to make money, and like that's all it was in the beginning, right? And what with that also, like how that. Okay, I paused for a second. So how that also showed up was I had no. I had no higher power in my life when I got started in business. And I had a lot of control, and I had a lot of what I thought was best for me, and a lot of like, if things didn't work out the exact way that I thought was best for me, then I was very disappointed or very angry. And it makes running a business a lot of work when you're just constantly trying to control everything's outcome that you really don't have too much control of, right? So like it was probably around my third year in business where I started to learn that there's very little I have control of. And if a deal is not for me, it's not for me. And I have to accept that that's okay. And sometimes, I had a property under contract for an entire year, an entire year. And it was like a corner property. For those of you in Philly in Strawberry Mansion, it was a corner property on 33rd Street. So it was like one of the most desirable properties, North Philly. And I had this dream of like living in the top unit and building up a story and having like, having a driveway with private parking, and it was going to be all this thing. And like, I had this very like, I had this idea of what I wanted it to be, right? But I also had a little bit of, I don't know if this is for me, and that's okay. I'm just going to keep doing the next thing because that's what I have control of. If this is for me and I keep putting the next foot forward and doing the next thing, it'll work out, right? But if I keep putting my next foot forward and just stop, I hit a wall, then like that's it, right?
Yeah.
How up was, I had this deal, it at like top of the market, so like there was no wiggle room. The numbers made sense exactly where I bought it, and I was kind of like a little bit overpaying for it, but I justified it because it's where I invest, live. I'm going to live there. I had all. If I paid that much money, it was going to be me. And there's only one other person I know that would pay that much money, and he lives on the block, right? So I knew that he was next up. So I kept putting 1 foot forward. I'd get it was a short sale. So if anyone has ever experienced a short sale, it's like the process is a nightmare in itself. But just kept going through it. Got to the point where like, oh, well, I have to pay for an appraisal now. So things are getting pretty serious. I'm about to drop a lot of money on appraisal. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to drop the money on the appraisal. The appraisal came in. It came in good. And I was like, oh, okay. So things are looking good right now. So there was some and I knew this from the beginning, there was some structural problems with the property, and I had an engineer come
Okay.
out, and they had very bad news for me. And they told me the repairs were going to cost between $40,000 and $60,000 at least. So I took that information back to the bank, and I said, "Hey, this property is structurally unsound. I have to completely rebuild an exterior wall, and it's going to cost between $40,000 and $60,000." And they said, "Oh well." And I said, "This property isn't for me." So it's like kept doing the next thing. And, if it was for me, they would have taken off, the money, and it would have been okay.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what I could have done is I could have forced my will on it and still bought the property and made sure, and right from the get-go, I was told that this isn't for me. And that's happened before with the deal that just was problem after problem after problem. Right. But to kind of circle back to the beginning of what I was saying, it's the moment where I started incorporating and practicing a little bit of faith, maybe a higher power's will and not mine, and incorporating that into business.
Yeah.
It was my energy went from to ooh, and I'm just flowing with business, and I'm making offers, and I'm just believing that I'm not going to force anything that's not for me, and I'm just going to flow with what shows up, and I'm going to pause, and I'm not going to make any reckless decisions. And it's just here's an offer, they're here's an opportunity, I'm going to pause and then reflect and then go back to it. And that's just been a huge shift for me in the way I run business. And things like that mural, that story is one of a novel that I could write of things that happen in business that are just they're not a coincidence. It's too many coincidences in one deal isn't a coincidence anymore. And, that showed up a lot for me during this business litigation that I mentioned before. And the way that just opportunities and money would show up at the dire moment that I needed them. I was just okay, so I'm being taken care of. I'm exactly where I need to be. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable, but I'm going to get through this thing, and I'm going to know a lot of what not to do again. And a lot of, I'm going to help so many people with the story. And that's the big thing of why I want to teach, right? Because I learned specifically of how to do things, mostly by learning of how not to do things.
Yeah, but don't we all though?
I'm if I can save someone maybe one or two mistakes, there's one, I was thinking about this before we got on the show, there's one piece of knowledge that I can share that may or may not save people $7,000 on one property, on one deal. $7,000.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah, because I had to pay that one. I got you guys. I paid it for you guys.
So there. So the cost of the course is how much again? What is it?
I think it's $1,300 at this point.
Okay. All right, less than 7,000. So yeah, pay that. Prevent paying $7,000, if not more, depending on your region in these United States. That's no joke. That's no joke. But I appreciate you saying that, though. The fact that, yes, you are in a way surrendering to a higher power. You are just letting go. You are trusting the flow. For those who don't want to assign to a higher power, you're trusting the flow. Okay, you're trusting the flow of things. And that honestly takes personal awareness and a level of humility. Because sometimes, like you said, I appreciate you saying that a lot of times as humans, we do operate from a space of fear and greed. And in a world where everything is about, well, it can appear to be about keeping up with the Joneses, or now we don't have the Joneses, now we just have the IGs, like the Instagram accounts of people who love to, I shouldn't love to, but some people, you may make the mistake. Let me rephrase it. You may make the mistake of trying to keep pace with others as opposed to setting your own pace. There we go. It came out in English. There we go. Which is the true challenge for all of us, because all of our paces are going to be different, because our end goals is different. For example, not everyone wants to be fabulous Julia. We all want to be fabulous like Julia, but not everyone may want to do this full time. Some people want to do one flip a year. That's fantastic. That is your pace. There are certain people that they want to, crush it and get every multifamily in the Philly area and do them all in 1 year. Have at it, my friend. That is your pace.
That used to be my goal.
Really?
When I got started in real estate, I was like, I want to own 100 units. And I was like, no, 500 units.
The big Scrooge came out. The big Scrooge.
And where that shifted for me, really taking a step back and understanding like really what financial freedom and success meant to me, right? So like financial freedom is the freedom of time, the freedom of if an opportunity pops up, you can say yes, and this partner that I had, they owned, over 150 units, right? And that all like between 1 and 4 units all over Philadelphia. And I was like, wow, I want to be like you someday. And then I watched that person work 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every single night, 7 days a week, most of the time, could not keep up with all the phone calls. A lot of people were after that person because they couldn't handle all of their business, and like that I learned really quick is not financial freedom. That's owning a lot of property and now having employees and project managers and maintenance and all of these other things that are keeping you busy, but that doesn't provide you the freedom that we actually really want, right? Yeah. So I went from wanting 100 units, which also like this person, like they were all highly leveraged. Wow. All of them had mortgages on them. Right. So like something that I learned from Auntie Aisha, right?
Yeah.
We all know
she
her.
Cash flow heavy. Yeah. No, she don't do none of that.
We don't do that like that.
We don't do that like that. No. Shout out to Auntie Aisha. No, we don't do that.
So like you can have like a handful of units that provide you that same freedom that maybe 100 plus having a full-time maintenance person, a full-time property manager, doing turnovers, having student rentals that turn over once a year, like all of that. Or you just have a quad, it's fully paid off, it's cash flowing, well, like 4 times, 6 figures. Yes. You can make a lot of money by having 1 or 2 deals.
Yeah.
So that was a huge shift for me too. I stopped chasing the like success that I used to think success was, and started chasing the freedom.
Yeah.
And like learning to say no and learning to, just really tap into like what drives me, what makes me happy, what makes me feel full, and like using real estate to fund those things. Yes. Doesn't mean like I ain't driving no Lamborghini or like, I like
you got a Bentley.
I like Walmart, because like I don't need to do anything else, but like the freedom that's there. I could disappear for a week and like no one's knocking on my door.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
that's a really beautiful thing.
Exactly, like a month or 2.
But to add to that, though, I think that's beautiful. But that requires for people to get to that space. And let me know if you agree or disagree with this statement. And everyone who's watching, let me know if you agree or disagree with this statement, which is this. In order to get to that space where in order to get that space to figure out what type of real estate investing fits best for you, the first step is really recognizing what you need. And you recognize not only what you needed, you also recognize what you want and what you don't want. Because oddly enough, I am using the word oddly, there are some people who love that lifestyle that you just described, just being knee deep, heck, I call that neck deep, eyelid deep in that work. And they want to do that and they want to sacrifice their time for money. However, I am the latter. I don't want to sacrifice my time. I want my money to buy back my time, because my time with my family is the most priceless thing ever. No one could buy that back for me. So that means for me, acquiring a particular number of cash flowing properties to take care of my needs and a little want. Hey, a girl likes to splurge at Target. Like
Mhm.
a vacation here. I'm set. I'm set. And the interesting thing is that statement is kind of contrary to the rhetoric that is spread around about real estate investing, because yes, it can be extremely lucrative. Hi, Al. How you doing, CP? That can be extremely lucrative. And yeah, you can build massive empires. And if you want to do that and you're watching this, do it. No one's saying not to, but also recognize that there are sacrifices and consequences with every decision that you make, especially in real estate.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I
Especially.
think like that kind of like manifests over time too. So like we all know that real estate is such a powerful, amazing resource and to get to financial freedom, to build wealth, it's just available for everybody. And, like the idea of like, oh, I wanted to own all of these buildings and now I only wanted to own a few, like that kind of shifts over time. And then like after wanting to do, you know, flips, now I don't want to do flips. Now I want to just focus on rental properties and, be able to do other things that serve me that like, and this all comes in due time. Right. So it's like I have this idea when I got started. It's like, oh, I want to write a book. I want to teach classes. I want to own 100 units. I want to do this. And it's like as you just getting started, then that's kind of like where you figure out what serves you. And like I saw someone ask about, it says, so you're not a fan of the Burr method? No, I'm absolutely a fan of the Burr method. But also, it's like when you reverse engineer what your goal is, and it's like if you want to make X amount of cash flow, then you just figure out how to obtain that amount of cash flow, right? And like if having 100 highly leveraged properties is going to not really give you a crazy amount of cash flow, then maybe kind of readjusting the plan and buying a triplex and then flipping a property, using the capital from that flip to pay down the mortgage, or maybe starting another business on the side and using that capital to pay down mortgages. Because like at the end of the day, if a building brings in $5,600 in revenue and you got a $5,000 or $4,000 mortgage payment, if you pay off that mortgage in the next 7 to 10 years through other streams of income, then that building is going to pay you $5,600 a month, free and clear, and that's just one building. So like kind of readjusting and saying, how in 7 to 10 years can I pay off these mortgages? And maybe what that would look like is buying a property, burring it, holding it, and then looking at your portfolio, what has the most equity, getting rid of it, paying down mortgages. It's like what really baffled me was during the pandemic, I started making some spreadsheets. This was the first time I really looked at my financials, like really looked at like my cash flow, my equity, my mortgage payments, my interest rates. I made all these fancy little spreadsheets and sorted it by highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. And when you do the math on what you end up paying because of that interest, like your $300,000 property, you end up paying over $500,000 on the lifetime of the loan. Yeah, you might want to figure out how to save an extra $200,000 and increase your cash flow at the same time. And that can come in many different ways.
That's a second mic drop right there, Julia. Seriously, that's a second mic drop. I saw one more question. Dramatic mic drop. I see one more question before we wrap up here. Gary Mills asks, what's your opinion on lease options, short-term strategy play? What is your opinion on lease options?
I've never done a lease option.
Okay.
So I can't say. But hey, opportunity.
Okay. Now, last question before we wrap up tonight, which is this. I had to say this the right way. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but I have to ask you this question though. Julia, first of all, let's end with a softball. What is one thing you're thankful for?
Oh my gosh.
One thing you're thankful for.
I would say my courage and my faith, because something like One, I see people like have the idea of wanting to get started in real estate and just can never do it. They talk and they talk for years and years and years. And I don't know why I'm different. I don't know why I had the guts to just get started. I'm not really different than that person, but for some crazy reason, I got started and they didn't, and like, I don't know what that is. I don't know who did that, but I'm just eternally grateful for whatever that was to put me on this path.
I love that. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's really, really good. Oh, sorry, guys. Are there questions in here? Sorry, y'all. I'm missing so many questions now. Sorry, y'all. And then last but not least, what is one thing 2020 has taught you thus far? It can be personally, professionally, does not matter.
The value of time. Yeah. 2020 gave me an abundance of time. I'm sure a lot of us were locked in the house for a little bit.
Yeah. I love that. I'm going to leave that right there. So people, I'm going to leave that right there. Seriously, abundance of time. The true thing is, the truth is really what are people doing with their time? And that's the question I ask myself too. Are we really taking it and are we capitalizing on this time? The most valuable asset that we all have.
Right. I've talked to people that you like check up on friends during a pandemic and they're like, I'm so bored. I'm like, you have a brain in your head and access to the internet. You could what do you mean you're bored? There's so much to learn. There's so many. We have this amazing opportunity and it's for everybody right now to really dive in personally. And then also the opportunity to start something new externally. And we might not ever really see that again.
I don't think so either. Not in our lifetime. Not in our lifetime. Nope. If anything, the one thing that it has shown me and taught me is that not only is time short, but whatever, for all 33 of y'all watching right now, whatever idea, anything you want to do, now is the time to launch it. Now is the time. You have nothing to lose. Now is the time to launch it. Any idea, any product. Because look, I seriously, you guys, I've seen an uptick in engagement with all of this social media. It's wild to me. And now that the world has officially gone virtual, even those who were hesitant to go virtual are now 100% virtual because of current events. Now is the time to launch any blog, any business. Now is the time to launch businesses. Think about it. The unemployment rate is at an all-time high. All right. Not to sound pessimistic, but you have a better off chance starting an income for yourself than getting a job right now. Start it. Start small. Just start.
History repeats itself. Look at what came out of the last recession. We got Uber.
Exactly.
We got the products of recessions, and we're also seeing this shift in society that is never going to go back. People are getting online that have never been online before. And I can see people like my parents aren't unique, right? So they find Amazon and they're like, wow, it can be at my house tomorrow. What? And that's not a crazy unheard thing right now. So many people are finding out about the power of the internet. So it's we are, people are working from home. Companies are realizing that hey, it saves a lot of money and some employees may be happier working from home. So there's just so many shifts going on, and to kind of dive in to while it's happening and to really capitalize on it.
Exactly. And the last thing too, especially so many times. Start a course, anything.
I learned stocks, thanks, Annette. I've been learning stocks. I started a new business. I've been learning there's so much.
For anyone who is watching and for whatever reason you feel any type of mental or emotional block, which happens. It happens to everybody. All the best has a block. Yes, become an affiliate. I gotta shout out my girl. And that's worth becoming an affiliate. Make some money while you learn stocks. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Do that. But getting back to what I was saying though, now is the time. If you had any emotional block, any inhibitions whatsoever, this is your green light. If you're waiting for a sign, this is your sign. Julia and I are telling you go. Green means go. Launch that course, launch that business, whatever it is, launch it. Now is prime time because especially if you're building it on an online platform, all eyes are going to be on you because the world is online right now. It was before, but even more so now. And the worst thing is to have regrets. So launch it dirty, launch it ugly, launch the beta, drop that song, do it, y'all. Okay? Just do it. That's my little daily ministry. Seriously.
That's really like one of my biggest motivators. And I check in with this thing of like, am I on track of having any regrets? And I'm like, no, I'm doing a good job. I'm doing all the things, you know? And like, that is one thing that like, I don't like, and it like breaks my heart to see, you know, some people like family and friends and like, you know, an older generation that are just like stuck financially and like stuck in, you know, all these different ways. And, you know, I'm like, wow, like, what an amazing thing that like that's not going to be me. I'm gonna make sure of it.
It's a beautiful thing. And the other thing too, Julia, that you are not aware of, I need to make sure that you're aware of this, is that you being brave enough to show your face and share your experiences via social media is helping out so many people more than you know. More than you know, Julia. It's the truth. It really is the truth. It's a power of people seeing when another woman sees another woman doing it. When they see you with your hammer, when they see you with strawberry, your it does. It's like,
oh, right here. She wants to be
shut up, Strawberry.
So bad. Come here, Strawberry.
The cutest dog ever.
Oh, here. Hi.
Oh, hey, Strawberry. The cutest dog ever. God, that dog is so cute.
Girl. Yeah.
Yes, it's the truth.
Launch it dirty.
Yeah, launch it dirty, y'all. Launch it dirty. Launch the beta. Launch it. Yes, perfection is not needed. Perfection is not needed. And no, you don't need to be an expert. You just have to have experience. Those are two different things. You just have to be, if you can teach what you've learned this 2 steps ahead, you're helping somebody else out.
And if you're not comfortable with being in that middle part of like having to just figure it out while you're doing it, then work on that. Work on unsetting that thing that's like holding you back. Because it's funny, like when we chatted earlier, you're like, oh, this is the first time I'm like going on multiple platforms. So I'm like, well, that's how you figure it out.
Yep.
You just do it, and then you know what not to do. And it's like I was talking the same thing. My partner just launched an online business, and like he got his first sale, and like now he has to go back and readjust some things on his website. And I'm like, that's it. That's what you do. You just make it.
Love it.
And then you just start going.
Yeah.
And then you figure it out along the way. You readjust and, you know, you just keep doing it and you do it scared sometimes.
Yes. Yes, you do. I do that a lot. I do a lot of things scared.
Yep.
Well, you know what, y'all? Thank you. Once again, I asked her for 30 minutes. She gave us 30 minutes. I got to respect her time. And honestly, I'm hungry. So we need to wrap this up. So thank you everyone for hanging out with us tonight. One more time, Julia, if people are interested in signing up for your class on becoming a general contractor, how can they do that? Let the people know.
Yep. So for investors, investor hopefuls, people who want to be GCs, people who just want to manage their projects better, me and Nicole Purvey have paired up and we're teaching a class specifically.
I need to have her on next. Yes.
The link's in my bio. And we start in September. And yeah, there's not many people that wouldn't benefit from this if you're in the real estate scene or own a home or just, yeah.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
I love all these little hearts coming through.
Oh, and people, can you give her more hearts? Stop. People, give her more hearts because this is Julia's first live ever.
Yeah.
Can we give it up for Julia today? Let's give her some hearts. They're going to come. It's a 10-second delay. Wait for it. Wait for it.
When you and Annette were live, I was sitting there like. The
hearts will come back. Yeah. There they go.
Love that.
Shout out to Julia. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you so much. once again, guys, if you haven't done so already, go ahead, click the little corner thing. Make sure you're following both of us. This replay will be available on YouTube. Shout out to Matt in the basement. You rock. You're a real one, Matt. Thank you. The lone watcher on YouTube. I salute you, sir. To everyone, tune in next Sunday at 7 p.m. for our next wonderful guest. But most importantly, be great, be grateful, and te amo. Y'all know that. I love y'all. Te amo. Besos.
Yeah.
Ciao. Bye.
Hi, thank you.
Bye so much, Julia. Julia, this was awesome. Matt in the basement, you rock. All right. Until next time, baby. Bye, guys. Bye, Julia. Have a great night. Thank you so much, babe.
Yes.
Bye. All right. Bye, guys.